What's up, y'all? It appears that I did not have a pattern sequenced on this pattern I loaded up. Whoops. Alright, but enough playing beats. I think we're going to get into the business today, which, yeah, today's session is going to be a little bit different, and I don't have my front camera because it's being used over here to get a shot of my gear on the side there, but yeah, got something different in mind for today's session. Normally I'm sampling and making beats and doing all that stuff, but I wanted to mess around with doing some sound design using the Roland Gaia, which is a synth that mostly just sits around over here, and I kind of want to break it out and do some cool stuff with it. This synth is pretty interesting too, because it has a lot of these like kind of basic synthesis principles sort of like on the front panel. So it's very good for like learning synthesis, since I'm kind of a beginner to this space. But yeah, it helps you like kind of conceptualize things like the envelope, filters, amplitude, and that kind of thing. So hopefully I'll be able to make some cool patches and have this thing going into my SP404 Mark II so that I can use the skip back recording in case I do create a cool patch and I play something interesting on it. I can capture it using the 404 Mark II. So that's kind of the plan. The last piece of the equation here is the Lo-Fi 12 XT. So I have MIDI going out of this into this device. I just need to make sure it works. I haven't tested it yet. But yeah, the idea with that is I'm going to use like the scales mode, kind of like that video I did last week or on Sunday. So I guess just a couple days ago. So I'll use the scale mode to be able to play notes on here that'll trigger this, and it'll all be in the same, key and root note or whatever. Capture the skip back with the 404, and then who knows, maybe make a beat off of that if I end up designing a cool patch that I want to mess around with. So again, that's kind of the flow for today's session. I guess I should get one thing out of the way, which is trying to figure out if this MIDI implementation is working correctly. So let's do that. Just going to go to my MIDI settings here on my Lo-Fi 12 XT. So we've got transmit note and out to from the MIDI port. So everything's looking good there. And then channel 1 is going out on track 1. So it should be good. Let's test it out though. Nice. Okay, so I'm pressing buttons here and you're hearing the Roland Gaia. Very neat. Seems like it's getting max velocity though, and I do want to use the velocity sensitive pads to be able to get some unique chord voicings and stuff. So let me adjust those settings really quick. Okay, so now this should work. Nice. So yeah, very basic tone here. We're just listening to the sawtooth wave. Nice and bright and buzzy. Alright, so that's working. And then, yeah, we can hear this. And then, theoretically, if I wanted to capture anything, just press the mark button. Skip back gets enabled. And then from here, press the sub pad. Cool, so everything is functioning as intended, which is good news. Yeah, current data is lost, that's fine. We're okay with that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to remember to do this too. So I have the isolator enabled on the SP44 Mark II because it gives the signal a nice clean boost. But when I use skip back, every time I do that, the isolator will be disabled, so I'm gonna have to turn it back on. It'll be easy to recognize though, because it'll sound much quieter, but just a mental note, I guess. But yeah, let's design some sounds with this thing. So the way that the Gaia works is you basically have these 3 oscillators that you can play at the same time, and you can adjust all of these parameters independent of one another for each of the oscillators. So you start with the first one, you can enable others by clicking the on button. So yeah, these two might be just sine waves, I guess. No, this is the sine wave. Nice and smooth. So this one must be the square wave. So that's the sine wave and the square wave together. Alright, enough messing around though. Let's start with just the first tone. And yeah, right now it's set to the saw wave, which is a little bit buzzy. I think I'm going to switch it to sine wave so that's smooth. So you can press this button and it basically lets you cycle through. Here, I'll let you hear all the sounds actually. So that's a sawtooth. Square wave. So this thing is like pulse width modulation, I guess. So you can kind of like set the... It's sort of like a square wave, but it has like an interesting sort of tonal quality that you can change by moving, I think, this. So this one affects the modulation of it. And then I guess this is like the width of it, which kind of changes the tone or timbre or something. I don't know the technical term for it. Maybe we'll get into that later. And then we've got the triangle wave. And that triangle wave sounds nice. And then what else we got? Sine wave. That one's smooth. And then there's noise. This one's kind of nasty. Noise, there's some function of it in synthesis. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm sure someone on like the M8 Discord server could probably explain it better. But yeah, maybe it's good for creating like percussive elements or something. And then there's the supersaw. So yeah, my understanding of this is that it's some kind of like saw wave that's on top of another saw wave on top of another one, or there might be like 7. I don't really know. But yeah, let's stick with man, triangle was actually sounding kind of sick. Alright, so we'll start with triangle. So yeah, these controls are each going to change the sound essentially. So we've got modulation here, which I'll come back to later. I don't know if it's a good idea to start with this. I feel like this is like after you've kind of dialed in the tone that you want, you would come to this. So for now, we can do some envelope settings. This is like some kind of ramp up. Kind of sounds like a car. It's like vroom. Yeah, not really what I'm interested in. Because I guess what it's doing is it's changing like the pitch over time. And you can build some nice chords with that though. Okay, so yeah, this one I probably just won't mess around with for now, so we'll keep it at 0. Back to our simple triangle wave. Filter, this is a very common way to shape the sound. It doesn't really behave the way that I would expect it to, though. Like, normally when you crank up the resonance on something, you end up getting like a very loud point in that frequency band, but it sounds very muted. And then of course you have different filters as well. So we're just using the low pass right now. But there's, yeah, high pass, band pass. So we'll keep it on, oh, and then there's bypass too. I actually needed to check the manual to see what PKG means. I'm not sure what that is. Dude, it sounds sick though. Yeah, maybe like peak something. I have no idea. Okay, so we'll stick with low pass though. Tried and true. And so yeah, once you've got the filter dialed in, there are these controls for the envelope of the filter, which can create like an interesting motion in the sound. And you can do like I guess this is like an inverted envelope and then a regular envelope. Can't really tell what it's doing. Sounds kind of interesting. So you get that kind of like meow, meow. Because the envelope is going up in cutoff. So it's like, imagine it like snapping this slightly when it's playing. And this, as I move this more to the left, so it's like making it more cut off, it kind of like ends the sound a little bit quicker because it's like only playing at a certain frequency that we can't really hear. So that'd be nice if I wanted to have like a shorter sustaining sound or whatever. And then yeah, the other envelope settings would make it so that it fades out longer when it's moving down the envelope. Okay, so that gives it kind of a motion too. But it doesn't travel along the envelope if I let go of it prematurely. You can tell I don't know a lot of scales or chords. I usually just press buttons. Sounds pretty chill. Okay, so that's the filter stuff. Mostly focusing on the low pass filter there. And then there's the amplitude. So this is like how loud it is. And then you can also adjust the amplitude envelope. So that gives it attack. You got release as well. So yeah, the notes sustain for much longer. And then yeah, you can control like how they fade out and stuff too. And then we've got the LFO. So I skipped this at the beginning, but yeah, basically you can modulate these parameters. So the amplitude depth. So this will give it like a tremolo sound, I think. And then the filter depth. Get that nice wow, wow, wow type sound. So yeah, that's filter depth, and yeah, basically what that's doing is basically modulating this, the cutoff. And then pitch depth. So this will do like kind of a pitch sweep type thing. Kind of like jacks up the harmonics though, so I'm not sure exactly what the best use of that is. Maybe like a tighter low, what do you call it? Low depth. Yeah, so keeping it subtle with like a low depth, I think sounds pretty chill. And then fade time. I don't know what this is. This must be like the attack of the modulation. Like you can kind of like in the envelope set it to take a while for it to kick in or whatever. And then yeah, there's all these different shapes too. So I've just been using the triangle shape, but there's, yeah, sine, saw, square, whatever that is, and then random. Sounds like a sick, I don't even know. Kind of like the sound of it, but either way. So that's saw, what do we got, square? And then yeah, what the hell is this one? It's like a square random. Strange. Okay, we'll keep it on triangle. Turn off the amplitude thing so I don't get that like ducking sidechain kind of sound almost. Really wish I knew more chords. Okay, so that's the first oscillator. We still got 2 more left. And there's a cool thing you can do with this where you can tone copy. And basically what this does is you get to select one of the oscillators, and then you can make a copy of it, which is quite useful for kind of detuning the sound and creating sort of like a swarm type effect. So here, tone copy, select, then you pick where to paste it to. And so now this tone here is the exact same as this one. So it just sounds louder, but when I adjust some of the parameters on here, it'll start to kind of like separate it from the original sound. So let's do detune. So you get kind of that like phaser chorus type detune effect. But I could also change the oscillator. So right now it's triangle. Oh, I didn't talk about this before too. But there's basically like variations for each of the oscillators. So this one is a triangle, but if you press the variation button, it like changes it to like a different type of triangle. Sure, the manual talks more about like what the differences are, but it's like, it's good to just play around with to see what the tone is like and stuff. But yeah, I could totally just make it like a saw wave or whatever. It's a lot brighter. Let's hear what it sounds like with the original. And I could bring the level down because it's like way more forward. Oh, am I messing around with the... Oh, I see, I see. I was like, it sounds the same. Why is it not doing anything? I didn't have it selected. So now I'm going to bring the level down. Yeah, not really digging it, but that's kind of what you can do with it. Sounds kind of chill. And then yeah, I could like add attack as well to just this new tone, the square tone, the one that's much brighter. So it's a lot less in your face, and it kind of just fades in a little bit. Which is great for the oscillators that have like a very, yeah, bright, strong presence. Alright, so that's that oscillator, and then we still got one more. So I copied and pasted this one, and I just changed a few settings. But we can add like a totally blank one. So this is set to the sine wave. Yeah, and it doesn't have like the envelope or any of the other settings that I adjusted, so it's kind of just like a filler sound that you can hear throughout the entire tone. Yeah, it adds a little bit to the low end when you pitch it down. But it's like out of tune, so it's kind of wacky. Let me mess around with this pulse wave modulation, or pulse width modulation. So yeah, this one's also super bright, so I'm going to put the low pass filter on it. Got kind of an interesting sound to it. Nice. And so yeah, there's some other cool sound design tools too. And then another feature that I didn't mention, which you've probably seen me do a couple times at this point, is that you can mute the other voices and hear things soloed. So that's helpful if you're like having trouble hearing one of the sounds and want to just isolate it so that you can make changes to it and then bring it back with the other ones. Oh yeah, and then you can also edit parameters for multiple oscillators at once by like pressing more than one of these select buttons at the same time. So normally you're just editing 2, or 1 I mean, but if you press 2 at the same time, there'll be 2 that are lit up. And now if I were to say adjust like the amplitude depth, so it's doing that for both of these and not just one of them. Let's change that back though. Or I could do it for all 3. But not trying to do that. And then there's some other settings as well. There's like some built-in effects that you can use. Pretty basic stuff like reverb. Low boost, I wonder what that is. I guess it boosts the low end, I don't know. Bit crash. Nice and lo-fi. God, that sounds awful. Yeah, these effects are nothing to write home about, let me tell you. Yeah, that's, so basically I would mostly just use reverb probably, maybe delay. Interesting. Okay, turn that off though. So yeah, let's mess around. So now that I've got a tone that sounds kind of chill, let's mess around on the Lo-Fi 12XT and see if we can get some cool sequences going. So yeah, kind of like that video I was talking about earlier, basically there's this scale mode on the Lo-Fi 12XT that allows you to turn these pads into notes that all belong to the same scale and root note. So you can set that up from like the pad screen. And then right now it's set to chromatic with a root note of C, but I'm going to change it to something wacky, I guess. Man, there's like a million of them. Let's try Hirajoshi. Hirajoshi. Sounds very Eastern. Maybe I should put it in like minor scale or something so I don't get too off the rails here. Yeah, let me switch it up. So yeah, let's do minor, and then it says EB. Not sure what that B's about. E flat, maybe. Not sure. Nice. So say I like that, I can use the skip back mode on the SP404, and it's basically just been listening to everything that I've been playing. And yeah, some of those chords sounded pretty chill, so I can just kind of dial it in over here. Nice, and then if I like how it sounds, record, press the pads to skip it back to. And I could chop it up on the 404 too. Yeah, that sounds pretty chill, but we're gonna exit that. Nice isolator. Wish I could get a nice arpeggiator going here. Gotta play it manually though. All right, let's try and build something else. All right, so to initialize the patch, cancel and write. Now it's gone. It's erased forever. And we're back to our nice bright sawtooth wave. Wait. So yeah, let's go ahead and try starting with a sine wave on this one. Kind of just sounds like an organ. But yeah, we haven't made any changes to it, so let's start with, well, let's hear the variations. So that's the main sine wave. That was the alternate one, and then this is the other alternate one. Yeah, kind of like this one. It's got kind of a muted tone. Oh yeah, this is just going to adjust the pitch basically. All right, so I'm going to keep that off. And then filter comes next. Still have no idea what PKG is, so let's switch to low pass. Kind of hard to use the filter to shape the sine wave because there's really not a lot going on with it. It's like, what is there to filter? Got a nice, lovely, like, piano music box type tone. Yeah, so let's try copying the tone and then detuning it, maybe. Now it kind of sounds like a Rhodes. I wonder what would happen if we modulated the pitch. Sounds like the aliens are coming for us. Scotty, beam him up. So ridiculous. Okay, it sounds pretty sick. I'm not sure what else to do with it. Reverb, maybe? still have one free oscillator too, so let's, I don't know, put something else in the mix here. And so this is also a sine wave? Does not sound like it though. The super saw? No thank you. So yeah, this is going to be way brighter. Let's hear what it sounds. Maybe with a low pass filter. Ah, shoot. Yeah, I kind of screwed that up. So I accidentally adjusted the filter for the first oscillator instead of the third one. Whoops. Sounds about right. Okay, select this one. On. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to incorporate this tone in a productive way. Maybe I'll try one of these other filters like bandpass. It's very subtle. I mean, it sounds pretty good with just these two. Maybe I shouldn't overcomplicate it. Okay, let's try and skip back something that I can maybe like flip or whatever. So we're in harmonic minor scale. G is the root note. Let's see if I can noodle something out here. Yo, hologram. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I'm just having some fun over here. Messing around. So that's the thing about scale mode though, is it doesn't take you all the way. You gotta have at least some skills to be able to play the right notes, even if they're all in the same scale. That's the tough part. Nice. That sounded pretty chill. So let me do the skip back, see if I can capture a loop there. But yeah, Hologram writes in and asks, how do you find the Lo-Fi 12XT experience? And yeah, I would say overall it's pretty chill, man. It's got some interesting quirks and limitations for sure, but that's how they market it really. The fact that it's called the Lo-Fi 12 means you're getting a lo-fi sampler. So you're a little bit limited with the sample rate. You're a little bit limited with yeah, the 8 tracks on it. And the samples have to be in mono too. So yeah, there's a couple stuff that you have to kind of accept up front when you start working with it. But I think once you like kind of embrace that or are aware of those limitations, you can create some really cool stuff either way. I mean, heck, right now I'm not even using it to play samples. I'm just sending MIDI notes to the Gaia. So it's very versatile and flexible in that regard as being like a MIDI controller or being implemented in like a larger setup. So yeah, man, I find it to be good for making beats solo, but also it integrates well with other gear. But yeah, do you have a Lo-Fi 12 XT, or are you thinking about getting one? All right, let's see what we were working with here. Dang, that goes kind of hard though. It's kind of the vibe there. And yeah, that was like me just pressing random keys basically. All right, we're gonna save that one. Let me see if I can do one more cool one. Maybe changing the scale and stuff. Let's try Dorian. Dang, I like that one though. I captured a lot there with the skip back. This thing is nice though, I will say. 404 is fun for skipping it. Skipping it and ripping it. But yeah, Hologram saying, currently looking for a little groove box for off computer sessions. Still researching what would be best for me. Lo-Fi 12 XT was on the list with some trackers like the M8 or the Poly N1. Yeah, man, the M8 is pretty sick too. And that thing, if you're looking for like, yeah, little compact on the go type devices, like the M8 is hard to beat. It is freaking tiny. It's like you can literally fit it in your pocket. I don't have the key caps on it, so it's a little bit slimmer, but yeah, this thing's like ultra portable. Definitely does not come any smaller than this when it comes to powerful sequencers and stuff. So the M8's pretty dope. I don't know, trackers are kind of weird though. If you are familiar with the workflow, then you'll be able to jive with it. But if you're new to that kind of like different way of working with sequencers and stuff, it might be a little bit challenging. But yeah, the M8 is pretty cool too and has similar limitations to the Lo-Fi 12 XT, like 8 tracks and that sort of thing. So yeah, definitely an option, but definitely a lot of homework to do in terms of like figuring out what's right for you. It's kind of hard to tell right off the cuff, but yeah, if you have any other questions about the Lo-Fi 12, let me know. All right, what kind of loops do we got here? Dang, this is the part that I think sounds sick. Alrighty, so yeah, let's save that, record, chill. So yeah, this tone was pretty sick. Kind of got like that music box type, what you call it. Dang, now I kind of want to flip this sample. Okay, let's mess around with it. So yeah, this was fun designing some sounds. I'm gonna turn this boy off. And I will get reoriented here. Should only take a minute. Oops, sorry about that. Man, this keyboard's big. And I guess since we have the Lo-Fi 12 out, might as well just mess with that. Oh, let me see if the power cable can stretch that long. The real janky mess here. All right. Oh, bro, this USB cable is not long enough. Oh, man, rip. I wonder what would happen if I unplugged it and then plugged it back in. Okie dokie. This is going to be such a mess to clean up. All right. Can we hear the stuff? Oh, it's not plugged in. How about now? Okie dokie, so far so good. Let me zoom this thing in. That's as far as it goes. And then we'll use the M8 II for backup so that we can record some samples in. All right, what is this smudge here? This is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. Still smudged. All right, we're chilling. Okay, and then yeah, I also need to get the sample off of the 404 Mark II. How is JMacula going to do that? It's really the million-dollar question here. Whoops. Okay, now we've got this cable, which I will plug into the 404. And then the, maybe I should just plug it into the lo-fi directly. All right. And then I need to load up a new pattern. This one's blank. We know that. Oh, it's probably doubling the audio. Let me just mute this one. Okay, so that should be good. Do I want to pitch it up? I don't think so. All right, this sounded pretty chill. So let me get some of the basic mapped out, and then we can get some drums punched in a second here. The tempo, probably start with like a 90, maybe work it up and down depending on how it sounds. There's like some kind of pop at the end of this. Let me get into slice mode here. Nice. And then maybe a filter on it. It's already pretty low passed, I would say. Okay, let's get some drums in here. I'm gonna switch this out. right, I think we got a winner here.